So deep. So deep. There's a fire starting in my soul, reaching a fever pitch of flame. That is Rolling in the Deep. Is that what that's called? Where was I? It's hard being dyslexic. I can't talk. In case you guys didn't know, in case I haven't made it very forking clear, I'm dyslexic. I'm dyslexic, okay? You're welcome. Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to the show that is my YouTube channel. My name is Mr. Beetle Goose. What is my intro? Hey guys, my name is Mr. Beetle Goose. Welcome or welcome back to the show that is my YouTube channel. I think that's right. I don't know. I'm trying to switch it up from Twitch so it doesn't sound so similar to Twitch. We had to use a different mic setting thing because the video's fucking up and my mic kept cutting out. This is like my third attempt trying to record this. I've been here for an hour. I'm not having fun. Benji's not here. I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me about that. He avoids me during the day. There's actually a really comfy recliner in our back room that's broken and turned over on its side. That's like his favorite place to sleep. So I'm pretty sure that's where he is. I'm pretty sure if I got out the treats, he would come, but I'm not gonna do that. If you've noticed, my background is different. I had a call that I had to do that I couldn't have Baphomet in the back, so I had to take it all down. It's all over there. I haven't put it back up yet. Deal with it. Right? We were gonna read Let's Not Meet stories. However, I tried that. That was the first attempt that I did, and I can't. I simply cannot. Alright? So we're gonna be reading No Sleep again. That's where we're at. I've already read this one. And it gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like I said, I filmed this 500 times already, but my mic is being I don't know what's happening, okay? It just keeps, like, doing dumb shiza. Anyways, we're on No Sleep. Reddit No Sleep, okay? The first one is called, I work at the Unclaimed Baggage Center in Alabama. I know what really happened to Flight 702. Do you know how many pieces of luggage are checked on the flights each year? I'm talking in the whole world. It's 4 billion. I'll say that again. 4 billion. And of those 4 billion, do you know how many pieces of luggage are lost, damaged, or otherwise mishandled by airline personnel in the good old US of A? 2 million. I won't repeat myself again, but that's still a lot. And while most of those suitcases and rollers are eventually reunited with their rightful owners, there's still over 20,000 pieces of luggage that go unclaimed each year. Not to mention bags left on buses, on trains, and taxis, or hotel rooms. Okay. Last question. Where do you think all that lost baggage ends up? Most folks couldn't tell you, but when you're a kid growing up in northeastern Alabama, you know exactly where it goes. The Unclaimed Baggage Center. Around Scottsboro, we just call it unclaimed baggage. Every year, thousands of customers pass through our doors looking for deals on clothes, electronics, jewelry, and just about anything else you can imagine. Before any of that stuff reaches the sales floor, though, it comes through us. I work in intake. When a truckload comes in, we're the first people to touch it. We unload the bags, log them, sort them, and decide what actually can be sold. Now, most bags are boring. Sure, you'll get the occasional wedding dress or taxidermied squirrel, but really it's just lots of clothes and chargers. I say most bags, because some bags get flagged, and not because of drugs or weapons, but because they contain things no one can explain. Ask anybody in intake. They'll have a story. My girl Tammy found a passport from a country that didn't even exist. It had a flag and everything. Now Cody swears on his mama that the same blue Samsonite shows up every year around Christmas. Not the same model, the same suitcase. Same cracked handle, same missing well, same 4-leaf clover sticker peeling off the side. Last year it was full of ladies' wigs. Year before, empty picture frames. Cody's a nut though. He moved away after the postcard thing. My story started with Flight 702. Well, it actually started with the suitcase. I just didn't find out about the flight until later. It was July, humid. The kind of weather where your shirt's sticking to your back before you even finish your coffee. I was working the receiving dock when the truck backed into Bay 4. The driver, Trey, was a buddy from back in the day and unfortunately an Auburn fan. While we unloaded, I took the opportunity to remind him the Tigers didn't stand a chance against Bama that year. Then I rolled the first pallet of suitcases inside. For each bag, the process was always the same. assign a lot number, slap a sticker on the side, then line it up all nice and pretty like for the next guy. That's what I was doing when I noticed the bag. It was a roller, seafoam green, looked like a kid's bag. But I'd seen a million of those. What really caught my eye was the condition it was in. Beat to hell. Like a pack of wolves had used it as their own personal piñata. Deep gouges ran all the way down one side and dark rust-colored stains coated the wheels. Now, airlines damage luggage all the time, but this wasn't that. I tried the zipper. It was crusted shut, so I grabbed the cutters from my workstation, busted a new seam, and pried the bag open. At first, it looked like standard-issued kids' fare. Books, pajamas, a stuffed unicorn, and a camera. A cheap-looking unicorn-themed digital camera, to be exact. I found the power button and turned it on. You might think I was being nosy, and that's fair, but you'd be amazed how many times we're able to reunite a bag with its owner because of some tiny detail in a family photo or, hell, a name scribbled inside of a coloring book. Plus, I am nosy. But back to the camera. The first image was of a young girl smiling a gap-tooth smile straight into the lens. She couldn't have been more than 8. The next, taken from the backseat of a car, showed a middle-aged couple in the front seats, eyes on the rows ahead. The mom looked annoyed. The dad looked lost. The next 3 were of nothing in particular. A shoe, a passing billboard, the roof of the car. The 6th picture was of an airport. The girl stood next to an old sedan filled with luggage, a unicorn backpack slung over one of her shoulders. A giant glass and concrete terminal loomed behind her. She looked almost impossibly happy. "Cheese," said a voice beside me. It was Brian, one of the new guys, striking a ridiculous pose for the camera. He had already earned a reputation around the store as a complete goof. Acted like I was taking a picture of him, then looked at the screen. "Sorry, says too ugly," I said. "Ha ha," he said sarcastically before noticing the bag at my feet. "Oh shit, did that thing go through a wood chipper?" I shrugged, and Brian headed outside for his own pallet. I turned my attention back to the pictures. The girl was inside the airport now. There was a shot of the ticket counter, the departure screens, and one of a grumpy TSA agent at security that made me chuckle. The next photo was of the entire family at their gate. Must have been taken by another passenger. The girl was still smiling that same smile, while her parents wore the relieved expressions of folks who were ready to start their vacation. The screen behind them said, United 702 Orlando. I figured they were going to Disney World. That would explain the girl's smile. The following pictures documented the family's journey down the jet bridge, past a blonde flight attendant with bright red lipstick, and to their seats at the rear of the plane. Wait a second. I scrolled back to the picture at the gate. Flight 702. The number tugged at something in the back of my brain. I'd heard it before. Just then, Brian returned with a fresh load of luggage. "Brian," I called. "Yeah?" "Flight 702 mean anything to you?" I asked. He scratched his head. "Pretty sure that was the Orlando flight." What Orlando flight?" I asked. He looked up at me. "The one that crashed." Now, I've heard people say their blood runs cold, but I'm telling you at that moment, my blood might as well have had ice floating in it. "Hey, you alright?" Brian asked. Yeah. I just need a little air," I stammered. I couldn't get outside fast enough. 1,000 thoughts were running through my head all at once. As soon as I turned the corner of the loading dock, I pulled out my phone and did a search. The headlines came rushing in. United Flight 702 crashes near Nashville. NTSB investigating catastrophic engine failure. Children among 238 dead in United crash. I felt like I was going to pass out. That little girl, her parents, all those people on the plane, they were all dead. Then another thought hit me. Something that really made my head spin. What was their bag doing here? I found my supervisor Shelley in the break room, futzing with a coffee pot. "Hey, Shell?" I said. "Go for Shell," she replied. "Is there, like, a protocol or something for when we get bags from..." I trailed off, steadying myself against the counter. "The heck you trying to say?" she snapped. "From plane crashes," I spat out. "For when we get bags from plane crashes." She stared at me like I sprouted a second head. We don't. Never? I asked. Not in the 17 years I've been here. Her eyes narrowed. Why? I was just curious. Weird thing to be curious about, she said. I forced a laugh and returned to the warehouse floor, convinced I had been imagining things or misread the flight number. Or the camera was still sitting on top of the open bag, just where I had left it. I picked it up and navigated to the next image, but the next image wasn't an image at all. It was a video. I hit play. The camera was pointed out the window as the plane picked up speed and lifted off the runway. Whoa! It was the girl's voice. Hearing it made my heart sink. The camera swung around and settled on her parents in the seats beside her. Her dad winked and said, "Hold on to your butt." The girl laughed and the video ended. Before I knew it, I'd hit play on the next one. The girl was in the laboratory now. She waved at herself in the mirror, then focused in on the toilet. She pressed the flush button. The air whooshed and she giggled, delighted. My hands were shaking. Watching the final moments of these people's lives play out on a 2-inch screen felt wrong. I wanted to warn them. Like if I screamed stop, turned back at the top of my lungs, then maybe somehow they'd get the message. The next video picked up right where the last one left off. The girl pushed open the door. She was moving through the galley when a nasty-sounding cough drew the camera's attention. It was that same blonde flight attendant with the red lipstick sitting all hunched in her jump seat with a paper towel balled up in her fist. "Are you okay?" the girl asked. "Yes, fine, just a little air sickness." The flight attendant managed a smile. "Do you like chocolate milk? Our drink service is starting soon." The girl must have nodded because the flight attendant smiled again and the video ended. More photos next. Clouds, the seatbelt, Hemispheres magazine. With each press of the button, I hoped I had reached the end, but the images just kept coming. And I couldn't look away. Another video. The girls' parents dozed in their seats. The camera turned toward the front of the plane, showing rows of seat backs and passengers' heads and the blonde flight attendant working her way down the aisle with a drink cart. She stopped at the girls' row and fished out a carton of chocolate milk. "Just for you," she said. Thanks." Then the girl tilted the camera back up. And that's when I saw it. A thin line of blood ran from the flight attendant's nostril and down into the corner of her mouth. She didn't even seem to notice. "Your nose," said the girl. The flight attendant frowned. Then she touched her face. Her fingers came away red, and for a moment she looked genuinely frightened. She grabbed a napkin from the cart, pressed it to her nose, and hurried back up the aisle as quickly as possible. "The hell?" I muttered. I replayed the last few seconds of the video. The blood, the look on the flight attendant's face. A real strange feeling started forming in the pit of my stomach. And then a Nerf football hit me in the shoulder. "Blue, 42! It was Brian again. He was squatting over a duffel bag full of sports equipment. He threw another wobble at me and I swatted it away. "I hit you right in the hands, you gotta catch that," he said. "Not now, man," I snapped. He clocked the camera. "You still messing around with that thing?" "Yeah," I mumbled. "Find out who it belongs to?" I hesitated. "Maybe." Brian smirked. "Hope they ain't expecting it back." He didn't mean anything by it, but I could feel my face getting hot. "Yeah," I muttered. As soon as he was gone, I pressed play on the next video. I really wish I hadn't. The camera bobbled as the girl climbed over her sleeping parents and lowered herself into the aisle. Up ahead, the flight attendant disappeared into the galley, pulling the blue curtain shut behind her. The girl paused, probably gathering her nerve. Then she started creeping down the aisle towards the galley. All around her, the other passengers were sitting snug in their seats, eyes glued to their screens. The weird thing was, the flight attendant's feet were still visible beneath the curtain. They hadn't moved. The girl took another step, then another. Bong! The camera jumped, and the captain's voice came on the intercom. "Folks, if you look out the left side of the aircraft, you'll be able to see the Cumberland River winding through downtown Nashville." The girl kept moving. She was only 10 steps from the curtain, lens trained on the flight attendant's feet. A passenger stood to get something from the overhead bin, and the girl had to squeeze sideways to pass. When she refocused, the feet were gone. The girl's thin hand reached out and pulled the curtain aside ever so slowly. The area directly behind the curtain was empty, just the laboratory door and another curtain leading to business class. The camera peeked around the corner into the galley. The flight attendant's jump seat was empty. In fact, the entire galley was empty. The camera floated for a beat, like the girl was unsure of what to do. Then she must have seen something because she zoomed in on the floor of the galley. It was a pool of blood. The camera pulled back, seeming to search for the source. The jump seat? No. The counter? No. With dread, I watched as the camera tilted up towards the ceiling. The flight attendant was up there, pressed against the hull of the plane like a spider. Her face was turned away from the lens, and for a second, neither she nor the girl moved. Then the flight attendant's head began to turn. Her eyes were black, completely black. And when those dark pits settled on the camera, I swear, she was looking directly at me. Blood pooled at the corners of her mouth. Drip, drip, drip. Things started to happen really fast after that. The picture whipped around and took off down the aisle, bouncing so violently I could barely make out the passengers jerking upright in their seats. Then a sound. Oh my god, that sound. It was like a cross between a woman's scream and metal being torn in half. The cabin's flight flickered and, bong, the captain's voice crackled over the intercom, speaking too fast for me to understand before dissolving into static. Then the whole cabin lurched hard to the left. The image rolled sideways, then snapped towards the ceiling. Oxygen masks dropped and dangled, luggage rained down into the aisle, and the flight attendant's pale form scuttled across the overhead compartments on all fours. Now everyone was screaming. The picture blurred, tumbled across the carpet, and came to rest just inches from the seafoam green roller bag. Then a window exploded and the world turned white. The video ended and I just stood there. All around me, the warehouse kept humming along like nothing had happened. Eventually, I had to leave work. I told Shelly I was getting a migraine. Truth was, it did feel like my head was going to split open. I drove to Scooters in a daze. After my 5th beer, Carrie gave me a ride home and I fell asleep in front of the TV. The next morning, I was pretty sure I'd imagined the whole thing. Flight 702, the flight attendant, it felt impossible in the cold, hungover light of day. But I had seen it. Hadn't I? That's when I decided I needed to show someone the camera. So I got to work early. Most of yesterday's luggage was still in the warehouse. Any items of value would have been cleaned, priced, and set in the staging area waiting for the floor staff to arrive. I scanned the shelves for the camera, but it wasn't there. I checked the salvage bins. Nothing. I saw Shelly pulling into her spot and jogged over. You look like shit, she said as she cut the engine. Thanks, I deflected. Hey, did you happen to see a little unicorn camera that came in yesterday? Yeah, what about it? She asked. I let out a sigh of relief. Where is it? Some lady from the airline came by yesterday looking for it, she said. She brushed past me. I struggled to keep up panic rising in my throat. A lady? What lady? How should I know? Some blonde lady. Please tell me you didn't give it to her. Shelly stopped walking. Why do you care? I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. Shelly just stared at me. What'd you expect me to do? She said it was hers. And the poor thing sounded awful, so... Awful how? I asked. She couldn't stop coughing. Shelly started walking again, but I stayed rooted to my spot, unable to move. Weird thing was, she didn't even care if the camera worked. I looked up. She just wanted to know if anybody had watched it, she said. What'd you tell her? I asked. Shelly pulled open the warehouse door. Brian said you'd been looking through it, so she shrugged. I told her you had. Oh, that story gives me goosebumps. I hate it. I hate it so much. That one gives me the creepies. I have literally, that's my second time reading it, but I get the same goosebumps every time. Oh my god. Yeah, that one, like, your mind just runs a million miles a minute. Okay. We are going to read one more, and this one is from an hour ago, and it's part 1. So we might have to do a part 2, all right? I'm in on it. I'm in. Yeah, all right. This one says, my baby said his first word, and I really wish he hadn't. Part 1. I stared in disbelief as my hands began to shake so hard I almost dropped the test. 2 pink lines. Sam, we did it. We finally did it. We're going to be parents. I screamed with joy. We had been trying for over 6 years. 6 years of tears and heartbreak. 6 years of seeing those around us start their own families, leaving us behind. And now, after all this time, it was finally our turn. The pregnancy was relatively easy. Minimal morning sickness, minimal weight gain. It was truly every woman's dream. As the 9 months of anticipation and anxiety were drawing to a close, our excitement grew. We finished up all our last-minute projects, from building the crib and decorating the nursery to packing our bags and installing the car seat in place. We had taken all the classes, read all the books, and bought every single one of the little gadgets marketed to new parents. We were ready to bring home our baby boy. In the early hours of March 13th, Damien Michael entered the world. He let out a loud cry as if he were claiming victory over the 6-year war we had fought. Our little family was finally complete. After cleaning him off, the nurses brought our baby boy back over to us. "He's beautiful, Liz. He even has your blue eyes," Sam said, with tears filling his own. I replied, "He's perfect. Absolutely perfect." Our hearts felt so full of love they could burst. For hours upon hours, we just stared at him in awe. We obsessed over every detail, from his cute little chunky cheeks and baby soft skin to his little fingers and toes. We marveled at this little bundle of joy lying before us, sleeping without a care in the world. Even though today marked the first day of our lives together, I didn't feel like I was staring at a stranger. It felt as though we knew each other, like I had known him my whole life. We quickly traded our infatuation for exhaustion. The reality of having a newborn set in quickly. His first 6 weeks were rough. I hadn't slept or showered in what felt like years. Naps were pointless. When I was actually able to rest, I would wake up feeling even more sluggish than before. Chores were neglected, filth gathered in all corners of the house, burp cloths, dirty diapers, and takeout boxes all piled together. Eventually, though, we started to get the hang of this parenting thing. The mountains of dirty diapers and laundry disappeared. Entire populations of dust bunnies were decimated, and I started smelling more like cherry blossom soap and less like sweaty cow. For a while, we had peace. It was little things at first. Some nights, the baby monitor would just show static or make weird noises like unintelligible whispers. Other nights, I would open the door to his nursery, and it seemed as though the shadows fled from view, huddled together in a corner out of sight. Then, it escalated. For a few nights in a row, toys that Damien wasn't old enough to play with would be out of place. At first, they would just be scattered around the nursery floor. I would pick them up and hide them away, hoping to fool whatever invisible force was moving them. I had no luck, though. The next day, after I managed to get Damien down for a nap, I tiptoed out and quietly closed the door. I was met with an obstacle course of building blocks. Blocks that weren't there when I entered the room. The following night, at around 2 a.m., I woke up to find a stuffed teddy bear positioned upright at the end of the bed. The lifeless plastic eyes looking directly at me. I really need whatever is going on to stop. I sighed with exasperation. I threw a blanket over my head and prayed sleep would come to me once more. I tried to explain these things away, to rationalize them in my head so that I could sleep easier at night. Maybe Sam was just trying to mess with me. Maybe I was just so sleep-deprived that I was having lapses in memory. I settled on the latter explanation. But, much like a rubber band, it could only stretch so far before it snapped. One evening, after what felt like an eternity, Damien was finally asleep. Despite my desire to jump into bed and call it a day, chores still had to be done. I looked at the clock. 9:46 p.m. I guess Sam must be working late, I muttered to myself. I propped up the baby monitor and started on the dishes. They felt never-ending. I was trapped in a purgatory of suds and dirty dishwasher. Scrub, rinse, repeat. I checked the clock again, thinking surely hours must have passed. 10:07 p.m. Maybe I should just head to bed and finish this up tomorrow, I said, feeling defeated. I dried off my hands and picked up the baby monitor. That's when I noticed that it kept on cutting to static despite showing full bars on the screen. Oh, this is what happens when you go for the cheapest option, I sighed, smacking the side of the monitor. I must have broken it because then the audio went dead. I smacked it again, hoping for a better result, and when the audio came back to life, it began to emit an eerie lullaby. That's weird. I know I didn't turn on the sound machine. Trying to brush off the feeling of unease, I turned the kitchen light off as I headed towards the hallway. I didn't even make it 3 steps before the light flickered back on, then off. That was weird. I don't know what just happened over there. Anyways. I didn't even make it 3 steps before the light flicked back on, then off. On, off, on, off. Before I could decide what to do, the living room light started to do the same thing. On, off, on, off. Every single light in the house soon joined in on this cruel joke. On, off, pop. I tried flicking them back on. No luck. Hello? Nothing. I was entirely alone. I tried to carefully make it out of the kitchen, using the light from the baby monitor to guide my way. Hello, hello? I stopped in my tracks. The voice was coming from the monitor. The voice that replied was my own. Slowly, I turned the monitor over, hand shaking. There he was. Damien, the baby who could barely hold up his head, was holding onto the wooden slats of the crib. He looked directly into the camera. Directly into my soul. Frightened, I dropped the monitor on the ground, sending the house into darkness. The sound echoed down the hallway, followed by cries not long after. When I picked it up, he was laying in bed as though nothing had happened. I desperately need to sleep, I mumbled. I entered the nursery and scooped him up out of bed, heart still racing from earlier events. I sat in the rocking chair and looked around. Nothing was out of the ordinary. The sound machine was off, nightlight on, no mysteriously placed toys. You need to get a grip, Liz. You're a mother now. You must be brave. I tried to calm myself as we rocked back and forth. I pulled Damien close and whispered in his ear, It's okay, baby. Mama's here. You're safe. We rocked some more in peace and quiet, both of us fighting off sleep. Breaking the silence, something whispered. But you aren't. My heart stopped. I couldn't breathe. The voice was coming from the bundle in my arms. That one got me. Oh my god. Oh, and there's like a little thing where you can like click to get the second part of the story. Yep, okay. Oh my god. That was so terrifying. Okay. That's all I'm gonna read now. And then next time we do this, hopefully there will be a part 2. Oh my gosh, that was such a good story. I love that so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. I think I'm getting better at reading. I'm still dyslexic. That's not going to change. I'm still going to flub up words. I'm sorry. They're going to mesh together and sound fucking weird. Get over it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day or night, wherever the you're at in the world. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Make good choices. Be nice. Be kind. Be gentle. And you will be seeing me in my next video. Okay, bye. In the back seats. No. Chores were neglected. Chores were neglected. Chores were neglected. Chores were neglected. Betty Bear. Betty Boop. Okay. Played sleep. I played pretend sleep. Me, mama, people. They're like tongue twisters.